Welcome back everyone to another weekly breakdown. We're going to go through the first week of the quarter. Very interesting to assess high time frames at this point. I'm going to go through the week overall. I had another loss. I took a trade that, to be honest, it was okay. But then again, I missed a move on another pair. That's where I want to put the focus of this video on, because I haven't missed a move in a while on my strategy. And it happened to be when I've gone through drawdown and took another trade that's lost. So it's there to be, question why I did that and how I can improve upon that going into the rest of this quarter. Now, one thing I want to highlight is took a lot of positives already this week. We're only down one half of the month, one half of the quarter. We've got the whole month and quarter ahead of us. That's the perspective you have to view it as. You can't think about the previous quarter. Yes, I have had losses previously, and I haven't had a win in nearly 7 weeks. I am a higher time frame trader, and I know that they will come, and I've just missed one. So I'm not going to chase trades now. I've got to be patient. One decision I've made is FTMO. I'm going to trade GU and I'm going to trade EU on fivers. This way I split, and I will risk higher percent, but I've split my risk. This allows me to now be able to not blow challenges accounts, funded accounts at once. It also means that I can risk, I'm probably at the minute going to risk same on these as well. I'm going to risk EU and GU on both of these because they're challenges and they're not my favourite, so they're a bit more easy to play with. But let's go to where we're at with everything. We're down 4.5% nearly now on the funded account. And now I'm trading GU. That's going to take longer to get back. But I'm willing to let that happen because for me, it's not about the money. It's about the performance. And it can take a while to get out of that. It can take the rest of the quarter if it has to be that way. This account challenges at break even. Now we're up 6.5% on that. You can see it's dropped. I'm disappointed that that's happened. It's been down to some mistakes I've made. But I need to now improve on that and obviously go on to eventually pass this. Fivers, we didn't trade, so we're still up. We're still up overall on the profit from since we've had the funded account, but we are down 1.7%. We've nearly blown the funded next. We've had 4 losses in a row, but I will not purchase a new one, as I've spoken about before. I'm taking another loss on Think Capital now. If I was to buy another account with these, I would just buy the 8%, 4%, not the 5%, 10%. Because I'd rather just pass it quicker and have less drawdown when it comes to the funded account and risk a bit less. So it gives me some variance with other accounts I've got that have higher percentage daily losses and max losses. But that's where we're at right now. It's a bit stagnant. It's a bit slow. But we have seen tariffs come in, reciprocal tariffs from Trump last week that were the first time, I think, in many, many decades that we've seen that. So no wonder why the markets are volatile. Doesn't mean you can't make money. But it's a new experience for me to be able to understand why things happened the way they did. And what took me off guard and really what I should have been looking at is dollar weakness. We saw Trump coming in, a lot of positives. Tariff talks sent dollar down. Tariffs were coming in this week, should give the dollar downside. Higher time frame narrative so important, technically, fundamentally. We saw price during this week, obviously not break 104. Too focused on that, got blindsided by the fact we had closed outside the weekly POI with a load to test. This liquidity point is so clear that if we struggle to come further up, that low, the new low below the liquidity point is going to get clearly going to make further lows back deeper into these POIs that are a bit more cleaner, to be honest. Overall, this is where the initial bullish push come from. We're looking at moves from there. And that's why I've spoken about in all my videos where I go wrong. I'm able to identify. If you can't, there's a massive problem there because I'm already learning from this, and where I can improve next time is, really eyeing up these liquidity points now, really understanding how price reacts around them and how I can identify what's more important, these points here or key levels. Because key levels, yes, they're important for me, but they're not. I've put too much importance on them during this current period. So yeah, we should be looking at downside. EU weekly confirmation. We've got a high to test. We've seen 1 day left of the monthly and the quarterly. I got 2 caught up in that as well. We're 100% going to close above 107.5. Why we don't need a retest back on the new monthly candle at 107.5 is because the weekly's done it. So it's going to go straight up to 110. That's my view. Same thing. We took out liquidity and we've pulled back and formed further structure to upside. What was I saying at this point? Go back to that video. I would have been saying I'm waiting for a high to form, pull back to the key level, continuations. But then you get too caught up in what's going on the lower time frames. Saying we're in bearish structure here. Weekly's higher time frame than the daily. Don't get mixed up. And I still do sometimes. And it's really annoying. I'm not going to lie, it's really annoying and frustrating because I'm sure a lot of you have the same thing that happens to you, and it is down to you just not being reassured enough from what you're seeing. But you've got to remember what you wanted to see a few weeks ago, and if that's presenting, you should be confident on it. You can't be doubting yourself. So yeah, as a result of that, I'm not going to take an EU higher time frame option. Really, this was my option. I'm going to go to the 4 hour and describe why the 4 hour was bullish going into the week. I would say the bearish leg at this point was this at the time. Friday, last candle of the week, gave us a break of that, which meant we were in a 4 hour bullish fib leg, which meant that I should have been looking for a higher time frame position off my strategy based on a low to high fib. And I liked this fair value fill. You could have had the wick here, which it tapped to a T. But really just having stops, somewhere around just below the key level. Like I said, really, week is confirmed above here. We shouldn't be coming back into the key level. Testing the highs, simple, easy target. And really looking at a 3 to 4. If you had a slightly higher stop loss or lower entry, you could have got 5R. But, that's the key to get out of drawdown for me at that point. And I missed that. And that would have come in March as well. So that wouldn't even have been in April. That come in on Monday. Where I looked at GU and got really distracted was I was too focused on this wick. I've spoken about the drawn liquidity is there. We're bullish. I knew that. Look at the higher time frames. Look at the dollar weakness. Too focused on our price having issues at this area. Yeah, but there's no rejection. It's just tapping. It's just consolidating. It's waiting for a surge of liquidity and volume. I'm marking up this unmitigated wick, but it's during the middle of a push down. It's in the middle of the phase. It's not at the high or the low where price turn around and change direction. And the more taps an unmitigated wick has, I already know once price taps half of it, I should be taking it off my chart. And I didn't. Because sometimes you think you're too clever. You think you're one step ahead of the market. You'll only ever be one step behind. So you're already in a losing mindset when you look at it like that. And until this gets taken out, I shouldn't even be looking at a sell. So really the whole key EU higher time frame is more important than the daily being, in a potential bearish structure right now. We're looking at DXY. We have an overall failure to continue deeper into this overall area. And we're getting closures outside the POIs on the higher time frames. You're getting big, strong, bearish monthly candles. We can come back deeper. Look how important this area is for price. Back in the 101, 100. It's obvious. And then we look at GU. And obviously I've marked up. I've marked up that weekly when I shouldn't have. And then I've looked for a sell coming not on Monday but into Tuesday. After Tuesday's close, I believe I looked for it. I'm going to go through the week and first of all talk about really how DXY started playing out. So, Monday closed like this and I was going, we're creating higher lows. We're in bullish daily structure, back above 104. Obviously, in the end, what did it do? Cleared the lows, continued down. Wednesday's candle was clear as day, but really for me, it was a higher time frame pullback into the previous weekly POI, which was really the move. And for EU, like I said, it was the 4 hour fib for me. And if you took this trade, it would have played out beautifully. And that would have been a trade in my strategy, and I've missed that. So dealing with that, I've got to understand that my monthly zone between 107.5 and 110 has been played, and I missed that move. So now my moves aren't as easy for the month, and I've got to be more careful. As for GU overall, the more I talk about this move, the more stupid I feel about taking it. In all honesty, and there we go. If I was to still have this marked in, which I did, and it pains me looking back to see it, I've looked and gone, you know what, confirmation, we're going to come and take this. Because I was eyeing this up as liquidity. I was saying we're struggling to come up. We need to take that to come up. But why this liquidity point, why that doesn't matter, is because until you get to that, this is the price direction bias up. The price direction bias is not, we need to take this out. And yeah, at first I was like, that doesn't really make sense. But after talking about this in previous videos, I know that was the point price needs to hit for upside. Really, when I spoke about this POI, where did price have an issue at previously? Before we just come down, we had an issue at this POI. Where's the POI to the left on the daily time frame? I'm looking on the weekly time frame. We're not on the weekly time frame chart. We're on the daily. Then I look on the weekly time frame. That POI is not important. It's been mitigated, so to speak. It's not important. So all my logic here is flawed. It's not real. And as a result, I've looked for a move, and it's really bad looking back. But you have to be so honest with yourself as a trader that you can identify a bad move and go, I need to not take that again. What can I do to not take that again? What do I need to understand? I need to write these things down, put them in my journal, and mark it in. And tell yourself and read it over and over again to make sure that in the next time this happens, you don't end up taking something like that again. I ended up getting tagged in the next day. We got tagged in on Wednesday. And no shock, we got tagged out within, the same day the tariffs come in, and then we saw the massive push up. Now, GU was crazy in the end. That was the move for the week. We looked at by the way, that was like a 1 hour leg. I was looking at price being in this area here, within this. So I was looking for a move within here on the 30-minute. But again, you're in a daily consolidation. There is no clear trending market to the downside yet. And overall, price direction-wise, another counter trade, another loss. Trying to be too clever, and sometimes I do try and be too clever, and you've got to accept that, because every time you try and be too clever, you will lose more than likely. And if you do win, I wouldn't want to win because it's reinforcing bad habits. But that's a clear push up. 132 tap. My key levels are really, they're holding true well. Weekly's closed back within where we started the week, and it's looking bearish now. We've cleared the key liquidity point, internal range liquidity, from, the overall push down from the high to the lows that we formed all the way down here. And we've come and took that. So I think 128 could be on the cards. We obviously don't want to be getting in just yet, but I will be looking for sells. And I have to accept that, any sell earlier was too early. So I was early. And for EU, I was too late to the buy. And I even said, I'm looking for a higher low to form, which the higher low I was looking for to form was off this. So 100%, once I saw that and I lost on GU, I was looking for a buy on EU, because I wrote about that in the weekly analysis. What ended up happening was, if we were to go to what happened in Thursday morning, already too late. Price moved with the fundamentals, and that was that. So yeah, I'm feeling really fresh going to the quarter overall, and it's frustrating that I went and finished the quarter, reviewed everything, and went, I'm set, and then first trade loss. But that's the test you get in the market, and always comes down to not being 100% on it every single day. You've got to make sure there's like a thing that you do every day. You stick to that, and as soon as you sway from that a little bit, or you doubt yourself, that's where it comes in and hits you. So I need to be better at that. But, I'm sure that I will continue this month strong, and I'm really, really looking forward to the rest of it. And you can't let one trade define the way that the overall month's going to go, because, you could start the month on the best trade in the world and you could still end up having to lose a month. Likewise, you could start the month on 3 losses in the first week. You can end up with the best month you've ever had. So you've really got to look at that from that perspective. But yeah, really looking forward to pushing on with these videos and this channel. I do appreciate all the support here for the long haul. I want to be here for years. I want to really document everything and show it that your struggles, they don't mean anything, because I'm going through them as well, and you have to overcome them, because you will keep making the same mistakes until you learn, until you change the way you are, and we have to do that to become successful. And if you're not willing to do that, the game is not for you. But yeah, guys, come back next week. Let's hope things are better, but let's put in the work. Take care. See you guys later. Peace out.